President of Pulse Research. And on behalf of the Pulse team and Sammy Pafford of Wormhole, I want to welcome you to our very, very positive, webinar session this afternoon, Best Practices in Uncertain Times. And I think you would, all agree it's been a extremely challenging, exciting, frustrating, overwhelming, times with the pandemic. But we've heard a lot of very positive success stories, some great ideas and best practices from our clients around North America. And to all of you, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule today to share with others in the industry, some of the things that, you've accomplished and have been successful for you. And the purpose of the get together this afternoon is to provide an environment, a forum, if you will, to share ideas. And some of you have offered to kick it off with, sharing some of your best practices. And we got quite a diversity of individuals and, publication groups that are participating this afternoon. So once again, on behalf of Pulse and Sammy Pafford of Wormhole, I want to welcome you. And let's start out this afternoon with Matt Miller, Chief Revenue Officer of Trib Total Media. Matt, share with us some of your ideas and suggestions, your best practices, if you would, please.
Yeah, sure, John. I'd be happy to. I'll start off by saying that these best practices were really kind of everything that we were doing leading up to March. The wheels sort of fell off in March. Fell off the economy, and really, we as a company really got away from some of the things that were really working for us. So I'm going to talk about how we've in the last month or so tried to regain the traction that we had. One of the big challenges that we've had in the past at the Trib is that we have been what I would say is hyper focused on managing lagging indicators. I don't think anybody's going to tell you that it's not important to pay attention to sales to goal and new business and active accounts. All of those things are really, really important. But once you have a number on them, they're in the past. We worked really hard. I think our best practice for Pulse Research is we worked hard to identify leading indicators, things that we thought, okay, if we can get this behavior from our sales teams, we'll start to see some success. We identified 4 leading indicators that are all behavior-based types of things, all entirely within the control of our sales team. But we focused on changing these behaviors. The 4 KPIs that we focused on were, we call this our daily 4. We look at it every single day. The managers look at it every day. We have a report that goes to our board of directors and to the trustees of our company every week. We have an end of month report, where it's a cumulative of, like each week leading up, adding up for the month. But our 4 KPIs are 8 daily sales calls. So that is, a daily sales call is defined as, a call that you've spoken with a decision maker. So I can tell you that is a number that it troubles me, frankly. It feels low as a 20-year newspaper veteran. I feel like we should be able to expect salespeople to make more than eight sales calls in a day. But it was a negotiation, frankly. I recognize the world has changed. We talk a lot at our company about the fact that you should never really have to make a cold call anymore. There's lots of information that we can find out about a customer that we're not doing business with on their website, social media, a lot of different places, a lot of tools that we have to, so at least it might not be a warm, we might not have been invited in, a warm sales call, but certainly it's not a cold sales call where you're just, knocking on a door and asking to see someone that you don't know anything about. With that in mind, we settled on 8, and again, it's, 8 people that you've had a chance to speak with the decision maker. 2 of those 8, so not 2 additional calls, 2 of the 8 are expected to be people that we've never done business before, never done business with. So 2 daily new business calls. That's our second KPI. The third KPI is, and the last 2 really are, how they, the tied to Pulse. So we expect 3 daily. We expect our sales team to deliver 3 Pulse teasers. So that can be, in the form of an email. It can be in the form of a phone call. It can be in the form of a special section wrap, or even just a one sheet that we're leaving behind to try and give somebody a nugget of information, but not all of the information. So 3 of those per day per rep. And then we call our proposals proposal draft reviews. So PDRs. So we expect 3 PDRs per week per rep. So those are our 4 KPIs that we actively manage. As I mentioned, 2 of those, we get that data directly out of Pulse, for our report to make sure that we're meeting those numbers. And as I mentioned, this is something we worked, I started at the Trib in December of 2019, and we weren't, we had a lot of work to do to get to the point that, we were ready to start working on leading indicators. And, we did a really great job. We launched this in October of last year. I'm sorry, I started in December 2018. We launched this in October of 2019 and had really, really great results. We made goal in October, and November, December, January, February had made goal 5 months straight. When I said the wheels kind of fell off in March, fell off of the economy. It wasn't just us. And, if I'm being honest, I feel like we have reverted back to a lot of our old habits in these last few months. So we're selling price and product as opposed to audience and value. And we met about probably a month ago as a management team on a video call and just talked about we certainly understand the difficulty in selling audience and value during a time like this, but we just wanted to make sure that it was a very concerted effort once we hit whatever the new normal is to get back to that. And we're certainly back to that now. We're in the last I'd say probably 2.5 weeks or so, doing a much better job of getting back to our normal plan of how we use the Pulse tools to really help us in our sales efforts.
Well, I really appreciate that, Matt. Don't mean to be rude and jump in. Want to keep us.
No problem. That was it.
Focused. Okay, awesome. Just kind of sharing my involvement with Matt, and Matt was being just a little understated. He said he had his best month in 3 years with the execution implementation, of his daily 4. What does that mean? I can say and share from around Pulse, our clients who track and the team members know that management is watching are the most successful. So thank you very much for that, Matt. I really appreciate it. Jeff, if you'd kindly unmute yourself, Jeff Weingard, and appreciate your thoughts and best practices. Jeff?
Thanks, John. To give you a little bit of backstory, John and I go back like 20 years, back when I was with Freedom Communications and Even Brown. So when he offered the ability for us to test Pulse, I jumped at it. It's been kind of a struggle for us because this is on us. I don't think we were set up to have to go remotely so quickly. So it's been a struggle for people to actually adapt and use the tools. But what I have seen is, and I'm doing what I can to help the staff. What I did was I started to run house ads. And the first set I ran for a solid week. And it was kind of talking, like John says, we asked the same questions you would. Over 200 businesses, categories, 1,000 different subcategories. We didn't do anything off of it. And then I took some of John's advice and I started running last week a series of front page strip ads that focused on specific industries. And what I focused on was 4 or 5 really key categories. For instance, financial advisors, insurance, real estate, which when New York State collapsed, we actually basically had an MLS that had less than 70 properties on the market. It's now starting to come back. Used car dealerships and new car dealerships. We've had the auto dealers really kind of reach out to their sales execs and go, what does this mean? So now we're able to take the data out to them and say, look, here's what we did. We ran this survey with our partner Pulse, and I give John spiel. So one of my ad reps has been totally remote for 3 months. And he actually took a Pulse teaser to an ad agency and brought back an insertion order for a 2-month campaign from this bank. So the bank took the data and gave it to, or the agency took the data and gave it to the bank. And it ended up getting a buy, which is nice.
That's sweet. That's really sweet.
Yeah, that was an agency, and it was an agency that I don't think too highly of, so to speak. They're not necessarily print friendly. So it really helped. But like many of you folks, we launched an advertising match program, an advertising grant program, whatever you want to call it. One of the things I've been struggling with is the reps adopting, utilizing the call planner. But what I looked at was I looked back at the data and I cross-referenced when these companies applied for the program. And I went back into the call planner and I found 3 companies. One of them was a local farmer's market that was shown a Pulse presentation on 5/12 and applied for the advertising match program on 5/19. At this point, he's got about $8,000 or $7,000 in advertising scheduled, but it's a net incremental income of $3,500. We're a small family-owned newspaper in central New York, so that's a big number for us. We had a Toro dealer applied for the program on May 26th. I know the reps have been talking to these folks. They were shown the Pulse flyer on 6/3. We've got a water drilling company that applied for the program on May 21st. They were going back and forth with the rep, and it's the same rep that's sold the program to the bank. And he just recently, last week, showed them, actually it was a week ago today, showed them the Pulse teaser. So we're using it now in the negotiation stage. But the data is so good in this stuff. And, with us and kind of being on the wishy-washy fence thing of when are we going to open? Are we going to slide back? Our region had been mentioned by Governor Cuomo as one to watch because of one of the testing matrices going a little bit wonky. So if you could get the data into the customer's hands and make sure your reps are using it, I think that's your best bet.
Well, I sure appreciate that, Jeff. And just to reinforce, because I've heard this from many others also who have mentioned grant programs, is that starting the conversation, in other words, getting the attention of the business first with the opportunity of your audience, what's in it for them, the value for them, has been very, very positive in the ultimate success, of the matching grant program. So thank you for that, Jeff. And also, Jeff, he was kind of a catalyst for the suggestion idea of running lead generation ads. And you're going to be hearing more about that from Pulse. We're putting together a support program for you to generate leads. So Jeff, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Ben Blackwell from Madison, Wisconsin. I understand that you've also been using the Pulse tools and stuff for your Lee matching grant program. So Ben, if you'd like to share your thoughts now, that would be great.
Yeah, John, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Thanks for the opportunity to speak and share just a little bit with this group. It's a great group. Nice to be on the call with all you guys and hear about the successes. Both Matt and Jeff, thank you. So yeah, we launched like many of you, a matching grant program, designed really to, have advertisers spend with us and in our newspaper and online, and then be able to match that space. But what we decided to do was make certain, like John just said, that the what's in it for them wasn't that we were going to be matching their ad space, is that they'd be able to reach customers who've explicitly stated, we are going to buy in these categories. And so we encouraged every single rep to approach their customer with a Pulse report, customized for their business, that showcased exactly how many people that we reach in print and online are going to buy from their category. Lead with the Pulse research, show them what's in it for them, and then direct them to the matching grant. And I think as that was said really well before, is this framed our matching grant differently than just, hey, if you spend, we'll match. It really became around, Ben and team, can you show me precisely how I can reach those 10,000 households who've said they're going to hire an HVAC company in the next 3 months? So we believe, John, that what has fueled our matching grant success is Pulse and the Pulse research. We had somewhere around $500,000 of local companies saying that they wanted to be part of the grant program. We think that's because they were able to see the value of the Pulse research, which is really about them, about their potential customers, and the fact that these are the people that read our paper both in print and online. So we've had some success, and we're looking forward to continuing that through this process.
Thank you so much, Ben. We certainly appreciate it, and congratulations. Next, I'd like to call on Zeddy Nadig, if I'm pronouncing your name right. I apologize if I'm not, Zeddy. Zeddy is with Pennsylvania News Media, and she has been following up with her member publications from their association to assist and help them with the launch of the Pennsylvania COVID impact shopping information in conjunction with the Pulse sales tools. And so Zeddy, we appreciate you sharing your thoughts. You've had some very positive experiences working one-on-one with your members.
Absolutely, John, thank you very much. And of course, joining Matt and Jeff and Ben, of course, Matt Miller is one of our Pennsylvania News Media Association members. And, I'm going to follow his lead. And I don't think anybody has done it better in Pennsylvania than Matt and the Trib team. So I've really been just focusing on, I know when John, you and your team were gracious enough to offer the services for a period of time. And a lot of our ad managers were saying that they just didn't have the time to watch the program, watch all the training modules, and kind of dig into, how to get to the flyers created and the teasers. So they thought it was great information, just didn't have the time to delve into it. I know, John, you and I have talked several times, and you said, how can sales managers not have enough time to generate leads, right, bring in new business? How can they not have enough time to do that? So what I've tried to do is just spend some time navigating through the process and the program, and just maybe create some generic flyers that are going to help them, their sales teams, take these out to the top, the COVID-19, the top 25 categories of business, with the statistics and the data that that Pulse Research has provided. And I've probably to date presented to about 12 different news members of Pennsylvania News Media Association. So presented to about 12. I have about average of 2 to 3 a week. I had 2 companies today, another one tomorrow, just trying to play an itinerary person that can maybe help them with some generic questions, and maybe help them get this great tool off the ground for their salespeople. So John, again, thank you for allowing us to offer this to our members. And, you know, I'm looking forward to getting some of the results back and seeing how the teams do. And hopefully we're going to turn that into some sales,
right.
some sales effort that they're going to purchase the program for the long run.
Well, excellent. I sure appreciate it. One thing I learned, by the way, from Zeddy is keep it simple. You know, you know, the Pulse tools have a lot of arms and legs. It's quite comprehensive, quite extensive. And what Zeddy taught me is just focus on one simple, doable aspect of the program. So it gets them into and using, because if they look at the total scope of it, it's a bit overwhelming and they don't get started. So thank you, Zeddy, for sharing, you know, that insight. Keep it simple and so that they can take those first steps.
Thanks, John.
And speaking of sales, I understand Beth Chisholm is not with us this afternoon, but Jennifer Early. And we just got an email from Beth yesterday, and they closed to catch $60,000 in new contract business in the last 2 weeks with the Pulse sales tool. So Jennifer, would you turn on your mic and share with us how you did it?
For the most part, we have been using the Pulse research just to be able to get our foot in the door, just to kind of explain to our customers, hey, that we know that everything, all your national trends have kind of been thrown out the window. And so here is some information on, you know, what customers, your clients are going to do for the next 3 months. And just, you know, we have a little bit of information to show you and to leave with you. And from there, once we go in, we have some additional information to kind of follow up with that. We've got some Pulse media research, the media audit. We also have a from Burrell and Associates. There's a good little clip of a video and some graphs that he has for crisis media and what you need to do to continue your advertising during the you know, the uncertain times when no one knows really what we're supposed to be doing right now.
That's so true. That's so true.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, but how did you specifically close 60,000 in 2 weeks? I think everybody would love to hear that.
We have used this time to show our businesses how many people, you know, in our area are going to come into their store the next 3 months. Then, you know, like I said, we show them the rest of the information. We kind of talk about everything, our newspaper and print advertising. We talk to them about the website, and we've also started something new, the Friends to Follow social media, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of. So we're just trying to get them to bundle all the different types of advertising together, but keep it low for them, because we understand that, you know, that they don't really have a whole lot of money right now or aren't really sure where they need to be placing it. So between all three of those, we've been able to do, I think we did maybe 11 different contracts that annually they'll spend about $60,000.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Now let's move on to the beautiful state of Hawaii. Jay Higa to share with us some of his ideas and best practices. Jay.
Thanks, John, and good morning and aloha, everybody. Nice of John to invite me to speak at this webinar. But like all of you, you know, we've had a lot of challenges over the last 3 to 4 months. We started Pulse with John's assistant and Sammy's as well in February, and we got off to a big start. I mean, we were really happy. We're excited about what this future would hold for us. And then, as we know, the pandemic hit and everything just shut down. In fact, our number one industry, which is tourism, is down 98% because we have a 14-day quarantine going over here, and it's just killing our businesses. But, you know, one of the things as sales managers, I think we can all agree on is, you know, one of the most important things that we can do is to provide our sales staff with tools, and most importantly, training of those tools to be successful. We really believe that engaging with customers and businesses is the most important task right now. In engaging with businesses, we want them to really vent to us because they've been locked up themselves. And we want them to talk about some of the frustrations, the trials and tribulations they've been going through. And the more we let them talk, the more opportunities that we found to be at our fingertips. The bottom line is, like most places, they don't know what's going to happen. It's a very uncertain time that we have. So the way that we've used Pulse is really to come back and said, we have the crystal ball that will help you plan, prepare, and win over the next 3 months, because we do have the COVID-19 survey. And I know that, I hope I'm not overstating myself, John, but they're going to do another survey in July as a follow-up. So again, we can help businesses plan, prepare, and win over the next 3 months to get them jump-started. For us, we're really focusing on 3 different areas. Number 1 would be the customers that we currently have, because we want to arm them with the information. Secondly, the customers that we lost, because we obviously want to get them back. And thirdly, the new opportunities that preside within the marketplace. The cold market opportunities that we're going to be doing, we're launching newspaper marketing ads beginning this week, which really addresses the economic uncertainty. And we do have a headline that says, we have the answers. And the bottom line is we want people to call in so we can reach this cold market and the people that we don't currently have. I listened to Matt Miller's webinar a few months ago, and he kind of changed my mind with regards to the number of people that we should be seeing. And right now, our goals are to average 10 engagements per day. When I talk about engagements, it's creating a one-sheeter that they can share bits and pieces of information to get people more interested in what we do. From there, the opportunity to capture another conversation is about 90%, because people want to find out who's going to be in the market and what can they do to help their business. As managers, we monitor their activity on a daily basis just to make sure that we can keep them on track. I think a big help, and if you're not doing this with your account executives, I would encourage you to do so. But we require all account executives to complete the Pulse training. The Pulse training is really an invaluable training tool because, number one, it gives them an overview of what the Pulse program is, and they can always go back and refer to any segment in the event that they have any questions. And I think that's a vital part of what we're doing. Within our presentations, besides print and online, we're also presenting our digital billboard network, which is digital screens in high traffic retail outlets that have facial recognition. The facial recognition right now is not doing so well because of the fact that we have masks or people are wearing masks.
What a thought of that.
Yeah, but besides the point, we know that people are looking at the screens, and we have data that can confirm that. And that's been an important part of what we're trying to do here, because people are still out and about, and they are frequenting high traffic retail stores like convenience stores, supermarkets, and certain restaurants. We also include direct mail and programmatic opportunities in there if, according to our fact-finding, warrants it. The one thing that Pulse really has also done with us is it helps us with media competition. As we tell businesses, the only way to reach the information that Pulse is providing is to go through our products. And that's the only way you can reach these customers. And this has allowed us to ward off any kind of discounted rates or freebies that television or radio have been pitching to our customers. So that has been really an important part of our sales process. We're trying to get back to normal, like many of you are experiencing as well. But again, what we've tried to do is before the pandemic hit, we were pitching 52-week contracts so that we have people on board on a regular basis. We are still pitching 52-week contracts. However, Dave Kennedy, our Chief Revenue Officer, has stressed to us utilizing a stimulus package in order to give people a 3-month break to get them back into advertising again. And we've been utilizing that and slowly getting more sales as businesses continue to open and we can be more out and about. So that's kind of what we've been doing for our Neighbor Island papers. So John, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, Jay. I mean, you brought to the table this afternoon some very, very worthwhile tips. One thing I want to echo what you just said to everybody, we will be doing the next version of the COVID Impact Shopping Survey in a couple of weeks in mid-July. And the reason for that is, has been stated over and over in our get-together this afternoon, it has been invaluable in connecting and engaging with your local businesses. So thanks a lot, Jay. I really appreciate it. And now let's turn to Era Wilson. Era Wilson is from Northwest Arkansas, and she's an ad rep and looking very much to your suggestions and thoughts on best practices. Era.
Hi. As far as best practices for us, as somebody who's in and utilizing Pulse every day, and I've used this in Northwest Arkansas, I've used it in my newspapers in Oklahoma. I think one of the most important things for us as reps to remember is that that it's just another source of analytics. I know that we're all kind of battling the fact that digital is taking over quite a bit of the marketplace when it comes to advertising. And we are battling digital analytics. There's so much that you can track through digital analytics that has been kind of problematic for proving the value of newspapers in the past. So for us, this is just another thing that gives us teeth when it comes to making presentations. That being said, I think one of the most important things that I've learned over the years of using Pulse is to make sure that we're using the data and putting our time and effort to creating the best presentations that we can. That means making sure that we utilize custom audiences, that we are making sure that we are really looking at the data and understanding that it's not just pumping out a report for the sake of having a report. We want to make sure that that data really offers the customer something beneficial. Another thing that I've been doing since COVID happened is being a little more creative with our teasers. So for example, printing a teaser to me is like visually impactful. It looks nice. It's a lot better than just like writing off some text. But, obviously with the lack of being able to make a lot of face-to-face meetings, I was utilizing the text teasers a lot for email. And I just wasn't getting that great of a response from it, even though, I'm going through and, changing verbiage so it sounds a little less canned and that it's, my authentic voice. I just wasn't getting much of a response from that. So one thing that I started doing is taking the printed teasers and converting them into, embedded images into an email, because obviously people are really getting inundated with emails right now. And it presented something that was visual, it was impactful without just another email somebody had to read. So I actually had been chasing an HVAC guy for a while that would not respond to me at all. And I was sending him teasers and just, all this information. And finally, I just started sending him the visual teasers, and it's a little bit easier to consume that way. And the first time I sent him a visual teaser, I actually got a phone call back.
All right.
And he said that he hadn't even been reading my other emails because he's like, well, I just thought that they were like canned emails, like the junk emails. So just even changing like the approach, even to the same clients you've been going back and forth to, can really be beneficial too. So that's something just that I've learned, like being in it and using it every day, that's really been helpful. Also utilizing the prospect function. That's been really helpful, especially when I'm searching by vertical. That's been really beneficial. So I'm not just feeling I'm utilizing and prospecting an entire territory and being overwhelmed with it. I run multiple territories where I'm at now, and it makes it a lot easier to search by vertical. And sometimes I'll forget about a vertical and go into Pulse just to check in the day and kind of, get my brain in that kind of mode and realize that there are all kinds of verticals that I haven't even been thinking about because I've been focused on the 20 other things that we're offering. So just getting into Pulse daily is a good practice in the sense that it helps you get comfortable with the tool, and it allows you to really start to know how to use it. And rather than just pumping out a report, like I said, it's something that you'll start to learn how to utilize just by visiting it daily, utilize it in a way that it's really becoming like a partner to you rather than just something that you have to do because your ad manager told you to. It's been a really really useful, especially in this market for me.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. Your suggestion on doing more of a visual teaser email. I applaud you for that. I've done it myself multiple times, and having the big number very, very dominant in that email seems to break through. I totally agree with you. So thanks for sharing that suggestion. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Brian Jarvis, are you on today? Sammy said that you've got some insights to share with us, which I appreciate. Brian?
I am on.
Awesome. Take it away.
Yeah, how y'all doing? No, we just started Pulse about 2.5 months ago there when you offered that free for the trial for the COVID, and we thought about it for a while off and on the last few years. I've only been in the newspaper industry. We took over our newspaper in 2012 here in West Virginia, and so I've only been in the newspaper industry for about 8 years. But we slowly kind of just evolved our company to be just as focused on print as it is on digital. It seems to work in our market, but we were just having trouble figuring out how to break back into the market. Like what a lot of other folks have said, the biggest thing about that we found from Pulse is the ability to break that door open, to at least give us some piece of information that appears to be unique and special to an advertiser that just hadn't seen something like that in front of them before. I wish I had something better to add, because a lot of it is, yes, I think it gave us a competitive edge over some of the local TV and radio stations. And I think it's actually given us a little bit of ability. I don't know if that's our products in general, but I think it's given us a little bit of ability to really get a little bit extra market share. While it seems like TV, it's a little more expensive and things like that, people aren't willing to open up their wallets quite as quickly for that, but they are willing to open it up when we show them that, yes, people are coming back to stores, and here's the number of people we have in our local market.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
And so now, is there anybody else? We've got over 100, on this webinar right now, and I welcome anybody's thoughts and suggestions. So just turn off your microphone and jump on in.
Hey guys, it's Grant Harris, publisher of the Interior News up here in northwestern British Columbia. Everybody hear me?
Welcome, Brent. Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Our circulation, and just from some of the people that have already been speaking, our circulation is somewhat smaller than yours. We have a circulation of 2,400. We are online. We are a black press paper, and we are online. Our viewers online, we're looking at around 60,000 users per month and growing. So our online product is working quite well. But getting to Pulse, because we are fairly small offices, I'm also putting together the Pulse presentations and stuff like that. And I will say that it's just let us, as I forget, and forgive me, I forget who mentioned it, but we are able to offer them information that they aren't getting from anybody else. They aren't getting it from our local, the other electronic media in our area. So it has certainly helped us be the go-to people with regards to what's happening in our market. And Pulse, I will shake your hand. You've done your homework and you've done your surveys up here. So we are dealing with local figures. We aren't dealing with just like a big blanket of British Columbia or Western Canada. We hear as far as COVID goes, we're on what our Dr. Bonnie Henry, if you've heard of her from the New York Times, thank goodness we've got her. We're in our approaching our stage 3 of opening up, which will allow for larger groups and that kind of thing. And again, the information that Pulse provides us gives us an edge as our retail sector. And like I said, we're dealing with small communities here. As our retail sector opens up and begins allowing more people into their store or at any one time, It's certainly allowed us, as I said, I'm repeating myself, be the go-to people as far as, as far as the analytics of our audience. I heard a couple of things so far, ad grants, and I'm what it sounds like to me, and correct, you can all correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like, okay, you buy an ad now, we're also going to give you another ad later. We're going to give you an ad in GrantUp. So it's kind of like so many of us racing to the bottom to give our clients as much possible value as possible, in the hope that they will stick with us along the way. But I can't say that it has been a roaring success, but we have been able to hold our own, and there is actually the odd week that we are actually better than last year. I don't know what that says for the local economy last year, but we're selling on a maybe 2 to 3 weeks ahead maximum, and I think that's just a reflection of the type of markets that we are. But the information that I'm hearing so far is certainly making me feel better about how we're using Pulse with the teasers and presentations, because I myself have used a number of those tactics already. So right on. Thank you.
Well, sure appreciate it, Grant. And is there anybody else on this afternoon who's got some other experiences, recommendations, best practices that haven't been mentioned so far? Please share them with us. Okay. Give everybody a little time here to gather their thoughts. Anybody else who would like to jump on in, and share anything else that would be a benefit? As obviously we're all in the same boat here, facing some very uncertain, challenging times. And it's obviously ideas collectively together that are going to make the difference here for us. Okay, well, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I'll jump in just briefly, just what you said. Our We Are Here For You campaign here in Smithers has worked quite well. And by that, we are giving branding space to those businesses and services that are open, letting the public know how they can get to them, and that they are open for them. So basically it was sold as, we as a media are here for them, our advertisers, and our advertisers are promoting themselves as being there for their customers.
Perfect. That's absolutely right on, because, well, just being very, very, candid. When I was a publisher, started out as an ad rep, then ad director, ultimately, and I think you'll agree with this, ultimately it came down to our success in assisting and supporting the local businesses. And I'm sure you would agree that nothing gives, you individually more satisfaction than helping that local business. And now, in my opinion, now is the very best time ever to help your local businesses, like Grant just said, because, and Matt pointed this out at the very beginning of our get together this afternoon, every single business, regardless of the community, is facing unprecedented uncertainty. And the COVID impact shopping information, your Pulse information with the teaser, the flyer, has been so positive and successful in helping the business realize there is hope, there is opportunity for them. And their local community paper can be, like many of you said, the go-to partner and resource during this challenging period. So on behalf of the Pulse team and Sammy Pappert at Wormhole, if you have any other suggestions, kindly send me an email, Marling, M-A-R-L-I-N-G, @paper.net. That's Marling @paper.net. Pulse, and Wormhole will do everything we possibly can to assist and support you. More than ever, we appreciate you and the opportunity to assist and support you. So thank you very much and have a very good afternoon. Stay well, everybody, and we look forward to getting together again soon. Thank you.